Fat guy in a little shirt.
That guy in a little coat.
Fosi Audio sent me the ZA3 amp for review, along with this 5X t-shirt. They asked me my size, and I said, hey, I'm a North American double XL. The next thing I knew, a 5X shirt shows up. At first I thought, did I make myself sound that big? But as you can see, it's still not quite enough. 5X. As much as the shirt doesn't fit, this amp fits my hopes and expectations perfectly. Stick around and I think you'll agree. But seriously, Fosi Audio is pushing the boundaries with the ZA3, and I'm so excited to tell you all about it. By the way, while Fosi did send me this amp, this video is not sponsored at all, and the opinions are my own. Let's talk about value. The Fosi Audio ZA3 is truly an outrageous deal. In a world of expensive audiophile gear, this little powerhouse holds its own, and for a fraction of the price. Fosi Audio's cutting-edge innovation continues to push the industry forward, and the ZA3 is no exception. They've packed so much into this amp. It's incredible. Let's start with the design. Look at it. This thing is handsome, elegant, solid, and very refined. This thing is even better looking in person. The online pictures don't represent the chiseled beauty like having it in your hands. The ZA3 feels substantial in your hands, but still compact enough to fit any space. The size hits a perfect balance. No product should be unnecessarily large, but with a little extra size here, it helps with things like passive cooling. Take the V3 monos, for instance. They run hot. And if they had a little extra size like the ZA3, that could have allowed for larger heat sinks and for even better cooling. The slightly larger size of the ZA3 hits the sweet spot for both form and function. What I call the dog bone styling started with the ZA3, and as you can see here, it's only on the bottom. But if you look at the V3 mono and the ZD3 DAC, now that chamfered edge is on the top and the bottom. The look is complete. I hope Fosi sticks with this for future products. It's become their brand identity, and it works very well. Now take a look at the advanced heat dissipation design. Fosi Audio really nailed it with this stylishly executed side vents. Not only do they keep the amp cool during long sessions, but they add to the aesthetics. It's form meeting function at its best. Now let's dive into the specs. The ZA3 delivers 155 watts per channel into 4 ohms and 235 watts when bridged in mono. The THD is less than 0.006%, ensuring you get the cleanest sound at the highest volumes. The signal-to-noise ratio is better than 106 dB with a flat frequency response of 20 Hz to 20,000 Hz. This thing can drive almost any speaker you throw at it. These specs are telling you one thing. Fosi built this thing to perform. But what about the sound? I've heard other reviewers rave about the sound quality, and I have to agree, it's brilliant. Even with the stock op amps, the sound is dynamic with tight and rich bass, mids, and crisp highs. Sure, you can roll the op amps to fine-tune the sound, and I'm definitely eager to explore what these upgrades can do, but out of the box, the ZA3 sounds brilliant. Let's talk about the XLR and the TRS inputs. If your gear supports balanced inputs, use them by default. These reduce interference, lower the noise floor, giving you a cleaner signal and better sound quality. Balanced inputs are the way to go for the best possible performance. I also want to give Fosi Audio major credit for what they did with the ZA3 sub output. Not only do they include a dedicated subwoofer output that's controlled by the volume knob, but they also made that op amp swappable for this output too. It's another example of the flexibility and customization this amp offers. Perfect for audiophiles looking to tweak their system. Now, if I had one critique, it's the speaker binding posts. For an amp of this caliber, I was expecting beefier posts. But here's the thing. I am fully committed to using banana plugs anyway, which makes binding posts a non-issue for me. I highly recommend banana plugs for all their clean execution and ease of use. You never have to worry about a random strand of wire short-circuiting your system and blowing up your amp. I want to address what makes this amp a cut above the rest. Inside the ZA3 is the TPA3255 chip from Texas Instruments, known for its efficiency and high-end performance. This chip allows the ZA3 to deliver 150 watts per channel and 235 in mono, but Fosi didn't stop there. They've packed in German WEMA capacitor, NCC filter capacitors, Sumida audio capacitors, Omron relays, Elna audio coupling capacitors, and the Taper A potentiometer for instinctive, smooth, and accurate volume control. These upgrades elevate the ZA3 above other Class D amps using similar chips. One thing I think is worth mentioning is the unconscious perception audiophiles sometimes have about small Class D amps. For decades, the best amps were often the biggest, large, heavy, and expensive. Those things historically indicated quality. So when you see a smaller, lighter amp, it's easy to assume it can't be as good. But that's not the case with Class D, especially not with the ZA3. In fact, I think the slightly larger size of the ZA3 compared to some other smaller Class D amps helps shrink that perception here. This is a big performance with huge value packed into a compact, affordable package. My V3 monos are my daily drivers in my living room, and it would take something really special to replace them. But the ZA3 gives me a similar experience all in one chassis. If I had to replace my V3 monos with another small Class D amp, the ZA3 would be a strong contender. It's that good. I also want to mention that I've tested the IEMA A07 Max and the A70 Mono version, and absolutely love them too. On paper, the A70 Stereo should be just as potent as the ZA3, with great features and performance. That model even includes PFFV feedback like the V3 monos do. I'm really interested in testing that to see how it compares to this. Now I've got a confession. The ZD3 DAC that I pre-ordered just arrived, and I'm exploding with anticipation to review it. The fact that it matches the cosmetics and design of the ZA3 just fills me with joy. If you want to see that review when it drops, subscribe now and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out when that does drop. So to sum it up, the Fosi Audio ZA3 amplifier is handsome, elegant, solid, and sonically delicious. It's an amplifier that delivers incredible performance in a small package. Fosi Audio is pushing the boundaries of what's possible at this price range, and I can't wait to see what they come out with next. If you want to check out my review of the Fosi Audio V3 Mono that I mentioned earlier, click here to check that out now. And if you want to see my review of the IEMA A70 Mono, you'll find that here.